Some games slip under the radar, not because they're bad, but because almost nobody knows they exist. If you're tired of playing the same mainstream stuff, here are 15 hidden games you didn't even know exist. Blacktail is a first-person action-adventure game with a Slavic folklore. You play as Yaga, a young witch trying to find her place in a strange, magical forest. Yeah, it's basically a Baba Yaga origin story, but told in a way that feels fresh and personal. Combat mixes archery and spells, giving you the freedom to fight or sneak your way through mythical creatures and spirits. What makes it stand out is the moral system. Every choice you make, whether helping or hurting, shapes how the world reacts to you. Visually, it's stunning. The glowing forests, talking skulls, and mystical atmosphere make it feel like you're walking through a dark fairy tale in an Unreal Engine. The tone shifts between calm exploration and tense encounters, keeping things interesting without ever feeling too heavy. Blacktail might not have made big headlines, but it's one of those games that quietly surprises you.
Once upon a time, there were two twin sisters, Zora and Yaga.
You got it all wrong.
What?
Once upon a time, there was a freak with no face.
Stop it!
You can't hide from Baba, princess.
How
much longer you want to be a nobody?
I just need to find the red oak.
What you really want to find is the hut.
Okay, Bullet. Let's find this kid.
Blair Witch is a first-person psychological horror game that takes you deep into the woods of the infamous Black Hills Forest. You play as Ellis, a former cop searching for a missing boy with the help of his dog Bullet. Yeah, the dog is a real companion, not just a gimmick. The game nails that uneasy atmosphere from the classic Blair Witch movies. Gameplay mixes exploration, puzzle solving, and a bit of survival tension. The camcorder plays a big role, letting you manipulate time through recordings, which is actually pretty clever. And the forest itself almost feels haunted. It changes, loops, and traps you without warning. Blair Witch didn't blow up when it launched, but it's way better than most people think. If you want a creepy, story-driven horror with a solid narrative and an emotional twist, this one deserves another shot. Tokyo has never looked this strange. In Ghostwire Tokyo, nearly everyone disappears, leaving the city crawling with restless spirits and weird supernatural beings. You play as Akito, one of the few survivors who teams up with a mysterious ghost named KK. Together, they fight back using a mix of magic, hand gestures, and pure guts. The combat's wild. Instead of guns, you're using ethereal weaving to shoot wind, fire, and water at ghostly enemies. It's flashy, fast, and surprisingly satisfying once you get the hang of it. And every enemy feels pulled straight from Japanese urban legends, which gives the game a distinct vibe. It's not the most talked about game out there, but Ghostwire Tokyo deserves more love. It's weird, stylish, and totally different from anything else in the genre. Evil West throws you into a world where cowboys and vampires actually share the same dusty streets, and somehow, it totally works. You play as Jesse Rentier, an agent from a secret organization that hunts supernatural creatures across a twisted version of the Wild West. The best part? The combat feels heavy and ridiculously fun. You've got revolvers, rifles, and a lightning-charged gauntlet that lets you punch vampires into sparks. Every fight looks like a mix of old-school brawling and flashy, high-voltage chaos. Visually, it nails that dark western vibe. Ghost towns, glowing ruins, and fiery skies. It's not a super long game, but it keeps things moving fast, throwing new enemies and weapons your way just before it ever gets dull. Evil West is easily one of those underrated action games that reminds you why single-player brawlers still rule.
Jesus. Fuck.
Just behind you!
I know you're sharpening your teeth for the president. Fucking beasts.
Now, Jack! No!
There's a house way down.
Sifu is one of those games that hits you hard. Literally. It's a third-person kung fu action game where every punch, dodge, and block actually matters. You play as a martial artist on a quest for revenge, but here's the twist. Every time you die, you age. And yeah, the older you get, the wiser, but also weaker. The combat system is the real star. It's not button mashing, it's about rhythm and precision. You read your enemy's moves, counter perfectly, and when you finally land that finishing combo, it feels so satisfying. Visually, it's got this clean, stylized art direction that makes every fight look cinematic. The level design also stands out. From crowded clubs to burning temples, each stage feels unique. Sifu may not be for everyone, but if you love skill-based combat and that sense of real mastery, this one's unforgettable.
That flows through this land. Yet you do not fully understand it. Driven by the belief that you can help these troubled spirits. But you cannot hide your weakness from me. You have no power here, Kenna.
Kenna Bridge of Spirits feels like playing a Pixar movie, colorful and emotional. You play as Kenna, a young spirit guide helping lost souls find peace in a world full of nature and ancient magic. At first glance, it looks cute and calm, but don't be fooled. The combat can get intense. You'll use a mix of staff attacks, spirit powers, and a bow made of pure energy to fight corrupted creatures. The real charm, though, comes from the little black creatures called the Rot. They follow you around, help in puzzles, and honestly, they steal every scene they're in. Every area in the game feels handcrafted, from quiet mountain villages to glowing forests filled with secrets. And the animation? It's on another level for an indie studio. Ember Lab really nailed that cinematic feel. If you miss the feel of old-school 3D action games with modern visuals, this one's a must-play.
Good morning, Morgan. You're not going to like what I have to say next.
Prey throws you into a sci-fi nightmare aboard a space station crawling with shape-shifting aliens called the Typhon. You play as Morgan Yu, a scientist who wakes up to find the station overrun and the lines between human and experiment completely blurred. The cool thing is how open-ended it is. You can fight, sneak, hack, or even use alien powers yourself. There's no one right way to play. One moment you're turning into a coffee mug to sneak through a vent. The next you're blasting enemies with an electric shotgun. It's weird, creative, and genuinely fun to experiment with. The space station itself, Talos 1, feels alive. Every room tells a story, from abandoned labs to zero-gravity sections floating in orbit. The atmosphere keeps you on edge, but always curious enough to explore just a bit more. Prey didn't get the recognition it deserved, but it's one of the smartest and most replayable sci-fi games out there. If you missed it, it's absolutely worth a visit to Talos 1. Visage throws you into a house that feels wrong. It's quiet at first, but not the good kind of quiet. More like the kind that makes you freeze because you swear you just heard something move. You don't get weapons or a way to fight back, just a lighter and a lot of bad decisions waiting to happen. The game's slow, and that's what makes it work. You open doors expecting nothing, and then something shifts in the dark. It's not about jump scares. It's about that sick feeling that maybe you're not alone, even when nothing's there. Each part of the house has its own story, and every one of them is messed up in a different way. You'll find clues, weird photos. Visage doesn't care about being easy. It wants to mess with your head, and honestly, it does a damn good job. It's one of those horror games that feels more like surviving a nightmare than playing one.
We have made contact.
The Order, 1886, throws you into a foggy, steam-powered version of London, where knights carry futuristic weapons and hunt monsters in the shadows. You play as Sir Galahad, part of an ancient order sworn to protect humanity, not just from criminals, but from creatures that look human until they're not. Right from the start, the game feels like a movie. The visuals are insanely detailed. Wet cobblestone streets, gas lamps cutting through the fog, and a level of realism that still holds up today. The combat's solid and simple. It's third-person, cover-based shooting with a few experimental weapons thrown in, like a rifle that fires bursts of thermite you can ignite mid-air. Story-wise, it mixes Arthurian legend with steampunk tech and government conspiracies. It's weird, stylish, and honestly feels like a setup for something bigger.
Before I do. We are Banishers. We end suffering for those who live. We bring closure to those who don't. Banishing his ghost wouldn't have been easy, but it would have been right. Life to the living,
Death to the dead.
Banishers Ghosts of New Eden hits different. It's not just another action game. It's a story about love, guilt, and what it means to let go. You play as Red Mac Wraith and Antea Duarte, two ghost hunters in the late 1600s, sent to a cursed colony called New Eden. The world feels grounded and haunting at the same time, abandoned homes and quiet villages filled with lingering ghosts. The gameplay mixes sword combat and supernatural powers, keeping every fight tense but satisfying. What really makes it stand out are the choices. You'll constantly face moral decisions that actually hurt to make. Helping one soul might doom another. It's not about right or wrong, it's about what you can live with. Banishers Ghosts of New Eden might not have made huge headlines, but it's one of those games that stays with you long after the credits roll.
Or do we part forever?
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown doesn't waste time pulling you in. You start as Sargon, a young warrior chasing after a kidnapped prince, and within minutes you're running up walls, parrying attacks, and pulling off time powers like it's second nature. The combat feels tight. Every dodge, slash, and counter connects cleanly, and the platforming is just smooth. Once you unlock more abilities like air dashes and teleport moves, getting around becomes this really satisfying rhythm. The world is huge but connected, with tons of secrets tucked away behind puzzles or areas you can't reach until later. What sells it most is the energy. The bright colors, slick animation, and Persian mythology give it a style you don't see often anymore. The Lost Crown doesn't try to copy older games, it just takes what worked and makes it feel new
Since
again.
the beginning of time, legend has told of an epic battle between darkness and light. But now the darkness spreads, and an unknown warrior will rise. With a deadly new ally. To save a kingdom and restore the light.
Soon there will be only two choices. Eternal life or oblivion.
Go get him!
The Surge 2 drops you right into the middle of chaos. You wake up after a plane crash, stuck in a city that's completely falling apart. Machines are out of control, soldiers have lost it, and everyone's just trying to survive. The combat's the heart of it. Every swing feels heavy. Every block or dodge can save your life. And when you pull off a clean parry, it's insanely satisfying. You can even target specific body parts to slice off and use for upgrades. You're not just surviving, you're scavenging your way to becoming stronger. Exploring Jericho City feels just as good. There's a rhythm to finding shortcuts, hidden routes, and looping areas that connect in ways you don't expect. The Surge 2 doesn't try to impress you with big speeches or flashy cutscenes. It just gives you raw, fast, mechanical combat, and lets you prove you can handle it. Code Vein is basically Dark Souls with anime flair, but it's got its own identity. You play as a revenant, a kind of vampire soldier in a world that's completely collapsed. Cities are buried under red mist. Monsters roam the streets, and blood is the only thing keeping you alive. The combat feels familiar if you've played Souls-like games. Dodge, parry, manage your stamina, strike when it counts. But what makes Code Vein stand out is how flexible it is. You can switch classes on the fly, mix magic and melee, or pair up with a companion who actually fights alongside you. The character designs are straight out of a high-budget anime, and the world has this eerie, post-apocalyptic beauty to it. Code Vein might not have redefined the genre, but it's stylish, surprisingly deep, and way more fun than people give it credit for. Immortals Fenyx Rising is one of those games that kind of slipped past a lot of people, but it's honestly a blast. You play as Fenyx, a mortal who ends up trying to save the Greek gods after they've all been cursed. The gameplay feels like a mix between Zelda Breath of the Wild and classic Ubisoft adventure design. Big open world, puzzles scattered everywhere, and combat that's surprisingly fun once you start chaining attacks and powers together. Flying around with your wings, shooting arrows midair, or tossing giant boulders at enemies never really gets old. What makes it work is how consistently rewarding it feels. You're always finding new gear, solving clever puzzles, or unlocking new godly abilities that keep things fresh. It's one of those games that's easy to overlook, but once you start playing, it hooks you fast.
Begins the rise of Fenyx.
Possible storytelling, but with no epic action scenes whatsoever. Ah, now you're talking. So?
Bloody Spell. The Sinking City.
Such a crude word. No. You are now an Ekon, and that you shall remain.
Have the very streets of London become a mausoleum?
The previous symptoms leading up to this attack were the same, indistinguishable from the epidemic.
No. There was something more vile in these reactions. Something primitive.
Are you alright, Doctor?
I can't see.
Over there! It ain't human! Kill it! Where is the monster hiding? It's still in England, isn't it?
Take your place among the bearers of the lamps.
One of us! One of us!
I shall return as your judge and jury.
The God of Priwen has called for a second great hunt of our kind, and they will stop at nothing to eliminate us. You believe you're just fighting a disease, but it's you, the disease, Jonathan, you!
Vampyr puts you in London during the 1918 Spanish flu. Dark streets, fog everywhere, and bodies piling up faster than doctors can handle. You play as Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon who wakes up to realize he's been turned into a vampire. That setup alone pulls you in. You're both healer and monster, trying to save the city while fighting the urge to feed on it. The best part of Vampyr isn't just the combat, though that's solid enough. It's the choices. Every person you meet has a name, a background, and connections to others. Feeding on them makes you stronger but can tear entire districts apart. It's this constant tug of war between doing what's right and doing what's necessary. If you like story-driven RPGs with real weight behind your decisions, Vampyr is one of those slow burns that stays with you long after you're done playing.